Welcome back to the deep dive. It feels like everywhere we turn, articles, social media, even just casual chats, the focus is almost always on losing weight.
Yeah, absolutely.
And look, for many people, that's a really important health journey. But today, we're taking a completely different tack.
Hmm.
We're going to unpack something that's often, well, overlooked, almost whispered about. What if the goal for you is actually to gain weight?
Okay.
And not just any weight, but doing it healthily, sustainably, in a way that's genuinely good for you. We're diving deep into the challenges and strategies of healthy weight gain today. It's a health need that really deserves just as much airtime.
It really does. And what's fascinating here, I think, is that the whole societal story leans so heavily on weight loss. We often just forget that being underweight carries its own significant risks for well-being, just like being overweight does.
Exactly.
It's a critical area, affects quite a few people, and definitely needs a proper look. So our deep dive today will pull out the key insights directly from trusted sources, mainly drawing on the really solid, evidence-based guidance from the NHS. The aim is to give a clear, practical path for healthy weight gain.
Okay, so if you listening right now, or maybe someone you know is trying to figure this out, this often misunderstood journey, or maybe you're just really curious about the whole spectrum of health, our mission today is to give you a shortcut.
Hmm.
We want to arm you with the essential do's and don'ts, but maybe more importantly, the why behind them. We've done the sifting through the info, so hopefully you won't feel overwhelmed, but, empowered with real practical knowledge.
Precisely. We want you to approach weight gain thoughtfully, effectively, not just with a checklist, but with a deeper grasp of the health nuances that, yeah, too often go unexamined.
All right, let's get straight into it then. We've touched on this idea that being underweight can be serious.
Mm.
So, putting aside how someone looks for a moment,
Mm.
what are the actual health reasons someone might genuinely need to gain weight?
Hmm.
And what are the real risks if they don't? It's not just about appearance, is it?
No, absolutely not. And that's a really crucial distinction to make. It raises that important question. Why is being underweight a concern from a sort of physiological view?
Yeah.
Our sources, particularly the NHS guidance, point to a really profound issue. When you're consistently underweight, your body isn't just low on fat, it's actually short on the basic resources it needs for like constant cell repair and just optimal function.
Right.
You're likely missing out on vital vitamins and minerals. And if your body's running in that kind of deficit all the time, it starts this cascade of health problems.
Okay.
We're talking things like a compromised immune system, so you're much more likely to pick up bugs, and importantly, weaker bones. That means a higher risk of fractures, which points to a serious hit on bone density. It really just highlights the body's fundamental need for steady, adequate fuel just to keep things running properly.
That's a really stark reminder of how interconnected everything is, isn't it?
Mm.
It's not just one system failing. It affects the whole thing.
Exactly.
And this isn't always something you can, or maybe even should, just tackle on your own. When is it absolutely vital for someone listening to, stop trying to figure it out themselves and actually talk to a doctor, their GP?
Yeah, this is probably one of the most critical pieces of advice here. It's so important to get professional medical advice because, well, unexplained weight loss or being chronically underweight can often be a symptom. A warning sign, really.
A sign of something else.
Precisely. Something underlying that needs proper diagnosis and treatment.
Mm-hmm.
You should definitely see a GP if you've lost weight suddenly, unintentionally, like you weren't actually trying to lose it.
Okay.
Or if you've noticed weight dropping off without any changes to your diet or exercise routine, that kind of shift out of the blue is a red flag.
Mhm.
And what's also highlighted, and this is a sensitive area but just as important, is if you find yourself using food control or restricting food as a way to cope with difficult feelings or life situations,
Right.
these could all point towards something more serious underneath, like maybe a thyroid issue, digestive problems, or even things like an eating disorder. And those absolutely need professional help, diagnosis, and specialized support, not a DIY approach.
That's incredibly important advice, and it brings up a good point. For many people, the next logical step after hearing about the risks and knowing when to get help is just, okay, how do we even know if this applies to me?
Yeah.
How do you figure out if you technically fall into that underweight category? Is there a simple tool to get a first look?
Yes, there is. There's a widely used measurement that gives a really crucial first indication. The body mass index, or BMI.
Ah, BMI. Heard of it.
Yeah, it's a calculation based on your weight relative to your height, and it can basically show if you're in a healthy weight range, underweight, or overweight. Now, while BMI is a great initial indicator, It's worth remembering it's a screening tool, not a diagnostic one.
Okay, so it's not the final word.
Not necessarily. It doesn't distinguish between muscle and fat, for example.
Yeah.
So a very muscular person, like an athlete, might technically register as overweight on the BMI scale, even if they're incredibly fit and healthy.
Right.
But for most people, it's that helpful first step to understand your baseline. You just need your height and weight to figure it out. And actually, the NHS, our main source today, has a very easy-to-use BMI healthy weight calculator online. It's a great starting point for anyone curious or maybe a bit concerned before they chat with their GP.
Definitely. Getting that baseline is key. So, okay, we've established the why addressing being underweight matters and the importance of getting professional advice when needed. Now, let's dive into the practical stuff. For those who are ready to make a change, how do we actually eat to gain weight in a healthy way? Right. If someone's determined they need to gain weight, maybe they've seen their GP, what are the actionable food strategies? This feels like the core of it.
It really is where the strategy comes in. The absolute key, according to the guidance, is to gain weight gradually.
Right.
And you do that by adding healthy calories.
Gradually, okay. Not overnight.
Exactly. This isn't about huge, sudden changes that shock your system. It's more like a strategic, almost stealthy increase. For adults, the general recommendation is aiming for around 300 to 500 extra calories a day.
300 to 500. That sounds manageable.
It is. And what's interesting is that this steady approach promotes sustainable and healthy weight gain. It really focuses on nutrient density, not just grabbing any old calorie.
Nutrient density.
Yeah.
What does that mean in practice?
Well, it means focusing on foods that give you the biggest bang for your calorie buck, basically, in terms of vitamins, minerals, healthy fats, fiber, all the good stuff. So instead of, say, a sugary biscuit that's maybe 100 calories but not much else,
Right.
think about maybe half an avocado or a handful of almonds. Same sort of calories, but packed with so much more actual goodness for your body to use and build with.
That stealthy increase idea is great. So it's not just about eating more, but also how you eat. Should people just try to pile food onto bigger plates? Or is there a smarter way with meal frequency? I can just picture someone with a naturally small appetite feeling awful trying to force down a huge meal.
Yeah, that's a very common hurdle. The advice is definitely to eat smaller meals more often.
Ah, okay.
So instead of 3 massive plates, maybe think about having 5 or 6 smaller, well-balanced meals spread through the day. And this is crucial. Actively add healthy snacks between those meals.
Snacks are key then.
Definitely. This whole strategy lets you boost your overall calorie intake across the day without feeling horribly full or bloated or uncomfortable after one particular meal, which, like you said, can be a real barrier if you're just not used to eating large amounts. It also keeps your energy levels a bit more stable.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting, I think, because it tackles that common assumption. How do you actually boost the calories in your normal meals without just loading up on junk? Because the goal is healthy weight gain, isn't it? We're not just chasing a number on the scale.
Exactly right. We're aiming to build a stronger, more functional body. And the sources give some brilliant practical tips for this. You can easily add extra calories to meals with things like cheese, nuts, seeds.
Nutrient-dense stuff again?
Precisely. They're fantastic because they're not just high in calories, they're packed with nutrients too. Healthy fats, protein, minerals. Think about sprinkling seeds on your breakfast yogurt, maybe grating some cheese into your soup or onto pasta, or just having a handful of nuts with fruit.
Simple additions.
Very simple. And here's a clever trick. Think about having high-calorie drinks in between meals.
Oh, okay. Like what?
Things like a protein-rich milkshake made with full-fat milk and maybe some fruit, or even just drinking full-fat milk itself, or having a smoothie. It's kind of a physiological hack.
How's that?
Well, you're adding significant calories that are easy to digest, but because they're liquid, they don't tend to fill you up as much or impact your appetite for your next solid meal quite so dramatically, which, as we said, can be a real issue when you're trying to eat more overall.
That makes perfect sense. Separating the liquids from the solids a bit to maximize intake.
Okay.
Okay, beyond those clever calorie boosters, what's the sort of general framework for a healthy diet when gaining weight? What should the plate Bradley look like?
Well, the main principle, just like with any healthy eating plan really, is balance and variety. You've got to make sure you're choosing from all the main food groups.
So still eating your veggies.
Absolutely. Plenty of fruit and vegetables. Even when gaining weight, you need those vitamins, minerals, and fiber. Then prioritize starchy carbohydrates, things like whole grain bread, pasta, rice, potatoes for sustained energy.
Okay.
Don't forget dairy and alternatives, full-fat yogurt, maybe fortified plant milks for calcium and other bits. And the sources specifically highlight adding ample protein to meals.
Protein's important for building things up, right?
Crucial. Think beans, pulses, fish, eggs, lean meat. Protein isn't just for feeling full, it literally provides the building blocks for muscle tissue. When you're aiming for healthy weight gain, you're not just trying to add fat. You want to build a stronger, more functional body. And for that, muscle repair and growth, especially if you're doing some exercise, is absolutely essential.
Right. And for those, snack moments that inevitably happen between those smaller, more frequent meals, what are some easy, healthy options someone could grab? Things that fit this whole nutrient-dense, calorie-boosting idea.
Yeah, for those healthy, easy snacks, the guidance suggests things like full-fat yogurt, maybe add some fruit or nuts to it, or even something simple like rice pudding.
Okay, comfort food can be healthy.
Sometimes. These are good because they're satisfying, but they also chip in with valuable calories and nutrients. They're quick, convenient, and fit perfectly into that smaller meals more often approach. They give you a bit of sustained energy without making you feel stuffed before your next actual meal. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, healthy weight gain isn't just about food. Exercise actually plays a really significant role too, especially for building muscle. It's kind of a subtle shift from how we usually think about exercise, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. So it's not just for weight loss. I think loads of people hear exercise and immediately think burn calories, get smaller. But here, it's actually helping you grow in a good way. What kind of exercise are we talking about? Are we saying everyone needs to become a bodybuilder?
No, not at all. We're not talking about aiming for competitive bodybuilding, unless that's your goal, of course.
Yeah.
But the focus is more on resistance and strength training. The advice from the NHS is that activities like strength training or even yoga can really help build muscle mass. And when you gain muscle, that contributes directly to healthy weight gain, but it's functional weight, not just stored fat.
So what does strength training actually mean for an average person? Weights?
It can be, but it could be as simple as using your own body weight. Think squats, push-ups, lunges, or using resistance bands, which are great and inexpensive. Or yes, using light dumbbells or machines if you have access to a gym. The key idea is progressive overload.
Meaning?
Gradually challenging your muscles a little bit more over time, which stimulates them to grow stronger and bigger. And don't underestimate yoga. It builds amazing core strength and stability, which definitely contributes to a stronger overall body.
Interesting.
And there's another benefit often overlooked. This kind of physical activity can genuinely boost your appetite.
Ah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so it actually makes it easier and feel more natural to eat enough calories during the day to meet your weight gain goals. It's kind of a win-win, creating this positive feedback loop for healthy progress.
That's a great point about stimulating appetite, a real physical benefit. Okay, now let's flip to the other side, the pitfalls. If you're trying to gain weight the healthy way, what should someone definitely steer clear of? Because surely there's a temptation to just eat anything high calorie, right? My inner kid is thinking, great, permission to eat cake.
Haha, and that's a very understandable thought. But yeah, giving in to that temptation too much can lead you down an unhealthy road. The don'ts are really clear and quite crucial.
Okay, lay them on us.
First, do not rely on things like chocolate, cakes, crisps, sugary drinks to gain weight. Yes, they're high in calories, definitely, but they're what we often call empty calories.
Meaning they don't offer much else.
Exactly. They lack the essential nutrients, those vitamins, minerals, healthy fats we were just talking about. So eating loads of them will likely lead mostly to unhealthy fat gain rather than a balanced increase in muscle and overall functional body mass. You might gain weight on the scales, but you won't necessarily gain health. It's like building a house with flimsy materials.
Got it. What else?
Also, a really common kind of subtle mistake to avoid: don't fill up on drinks right before or with your meals.
Oh, interesting. Why not?
Because liquids can fill your stomach quickly and suppress your appetite for the solid, more nutrient-dense foods you actually need. It can limit your ability to take in the quality calories required to build healthy tissue. It's really about making every eating opportunity count.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So we've got the why, the what, the how.
Right.
What does this all mean for someone listening who wants to take these tips and really put them into practice? Maybe they're looking for more specific guidance, meal ideas, or even some practical support. Where can they go next?
Yeah, the sources point to some excellent resources for digging deeper and getting practical help. For actual day-to-day meal planning and healthy calorie ideas, the Healthier Families website is apparently brilliant.
Healthier families, okay?
Yeah, it offers free recipes, and you can even filter them by meal type, ingredients you've got, even cooking time, which is super helpful, right? It takes away some of that, what on earth do I make?
Hmm,
Stress.
definitely.
Then, to really understand the basics of a balanced diet, the Eat Well guide is great. It's not just a picture, it's a visual guide showing healthy proportions of different food groups. Really useful for structuring meals.
Right, the plate diagram thing.
That's the one. And if you want to understand the energy side better, you can read more about calories on the NHS website itself just to really grasp how to gain weight safely and effectively, and for exercise.
Yeah.
The sources suggest trying the free exercise videos at home on the NHS Fitness Studio. Loads of accessible options there to help build muscle, no gym needed.
That's great. Lots of practical stuff. And there's one more resource you mentioned, which feels really important for tackling practical barriers. For people who might struggle, maybe physically, with cooking or shopping, there's actual help available that's often overlooked, I think.
It is, and it's such a crucial point. It addresses a very real challenge for some individuals, perhaps older people or those with disabilities. You might actually be entitled to have meals delivered right to your home. It's often called Meals on Wheels.
Ah, yes.
This service is usually provided via your local council's social services department. You can typically find out more by visiting the gov.uk website and searching for your local council services there. It's a vital resource, really, ensuring that everyone, no matter their circumstances, can get consistent access to nutritious, ready-made food. It's about broader health support, isn't it?
Absolutely. Wow, what an insightful deep dive this has been into a topic that honestly just doesn't get enough attention or real understanding. We've gone all the way from understanding the critical why of healthy weight gain, the potential health risks of being underweight, through to the really practical how strategic food choices, the right kind of exercise, and even where to find that essential support to make it all happen.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? This whole deep dive raises that important question for all of us. How often do we just overlook or maybe dismiss the less common health challenges? We sort of assume everyone's health goal is weight loss.
Yeah, it becomes the default.
Exactly. And this conversation is a great reminder that true health is actually incredibly nuanced, it's diverse, it requires different strategies for different people, and maybe a much broader, more empathetic understanding of what well-being actually means for each individual.
So whether you listening now are directly affected by the challenge of needing to gain weight, or maybe you're supporting someone who is, or perhaps you're simply looking to broaden your own understanding of health in all its, well, its rich and varied forms. We really hope this deep dive has given you a fresh perspective and maybe some valuable, actionable insights to think about. Thanks for joining us for another deep dive.